right. Welcome, everyone. I'm so excited for today's Jewel from our Jewel. We have Dawn on, and she is such a sweet, sweet person. And Dawn and I met at the Black Tie event. We came in and we were looking for a place to sit, and they were sitting kind of at a very awesome spot, pretty much in the front row. And we asked if the seat was available, and it was. So I know it was a God thing, because we ended up having a wonderful evening with them, and I just love her husband, and we cried and we laughed together, and it was just a special time. And then we've got to see each other at Hawaii and Leaders, and I just am so blessed by her, and I love praying for her. I even did the walk, the cancer walk for her. I put her name on the board and everything. So anyway, I want to introduce my dear friend, Dawn, and I'm just going to hand it over to you, Dawn.
Oh, good. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, it's been a wonderful friendship that started in Las Vegas. So thank you so much, Cindy, for having me this morning. So here I am. I know I'm sitting in my car. It's not my ideal way to speak. I usually like to be in my office on my computer. But my daughter, we know how awesome it is to be able to have the flexibility. And my daughter's doing physical therapy right now, and I'm in the car just sharing a little bit with you guys. So thanks again for having me. Like you said, I'm Dawn Andrews, Emerald Ambassador with Plexus. And so, I'm not a super polished person. I don't have a great outline as far as I think, I could do a really great talk on IPA or proper follow-up or duplication, or maybe it wouldn't be so great. I don't know, because I've been doing this for going on almost 3 years. It'll be January. But I think more than anything else, what I kind of have a specialty in is just overcoming the odds. And kind of talking to that, and maybe sharing with you guys some of my own personal struggles in life and how that has worked for me and against me in building my Plexus business. And so I think the best way to kind of do that is just kind of speak from my heart, to be really real and kind of walk you through my journey. And as I'm sort of telling you my story, you can kind of see it. And I hope that'll be an encouragement to you, because sometimes I think, in my own personal experience, we oftentimes will hear from successful people in our company who just kind of, what we think is they flew through the ranks, or they had it all together, or they had an incredible network, or a part of a sorority. And it looks like on the outside that it was just straight to the top, right? And we look at them and we think, wow, how did they do that? And inside we're thinking, but it's so hard for me, and it's such a struggle, and I feel defeated, and I don't know that I can do it the way that she did it. And I can probably almost, I feel like, guarantee that even those people that look like they flew to the top and they had it all together did have struggles, and did have things that they had to overcome, and did have a lot of roadblocks. And so sometimes I think we just need to hear that side of the story, as opposed to the shiny, glossy one that makes it look like it was so easy and they knew everything. They knew exactly what to do to get there. And so I think that's kind of what God put on my heart to share with you guys today. So I'll kind of start a little bit from the beginning about how I got into Plexus and sort of where for me, the roadblock started. Back in January of 2014, I was at the time a stay-at-home mom. I have 5 children. At the time, my youngest was 2. My oldest then was 11 or 12. I don't know, I lose track on their birthdays, I'll be honest with you. I'm not even sure. But I was homeschooling them all. I had not worked outside of the home in over a decade. And so I was your typical busy, stressed out mom who was about 25 pounds overweight, low energy, and just really kind of isolated as I kind of look back. I love being in relationship with people. I'm super sort of extroverted, which means I get a lot of energy from being around people. And I wasn't in that place. I was sort of in my house with my kids all day. And so I think spiritually and emotionally, I was even in a place where I didn't even realize it was unhealthy for me. So I was, like probably many of you guys, I was kind of on Facebook one day and saw a friend of mine from high school who happened to be a guy friend who said his wife had started Plexus, and she had done well with her business, and she had gotten healthy and lost 35 pounds, and the family had been healthy. And I knew this family from watching them on Facebook. I knew that they had a lot of integrity, and I kind of trusted them from afar, and thought, wouldn't that be neat if I could do something like that? What if I could get a little healthier? What if I could put a little focus on me, lose this extra 25 pounds, a baby weight that doesn't really count as postpartum baby weight anymore, if you know what I'm saying. And wouldn't it be really great if I could help contribute to our family's economy? My husband at the time, he had a business, has a business. We are the service construction industry, and had suffered some of that downturn economy that happened in like 2008, 2009. And so as our business was not, just struggling a little bit, we were kind of moving backwards a little bit. We were adding children to our family. So our family was growing, our expenses were growing, yet our business was kind of going backwards a little bit. And it was a little scary. Like many people, those economic times are kind of scary. So I had thought, wow, wouldn't it be really great if I could just help out? I hadn't done that in a while. And, but I knew that I couldn't really work outside the home, and I didn't want to. I loved being a stay-at-home mom. I love being home with my kids. I loved having the opportunity and the freedom to be able to homeschool them. So, working outside the home wasn't an option. Plus, with 5 kids, you can afford childcare, right? No way. I have to work. Anyway, so it just so happened that that particular family that told me about Plexus was the Gwynn family. Andrew Gwynn is actually from Virginia Beach, Virginia, which is where I am from, East Coast. And like I said, I trusted them. So fortunately hooked up with Celeste Gwynn, who at the time I knew nothing about. I had no idea she was successful. I had no idea who she was. By the time I joined her in January of 2014, she was a diamond working on her second leg. So I joined as a level 1 on her second leg. So I think with sort of joining the business and starting the products in January of 2014, knowing nothing about the products, only kind of stepping out on faith really that they actually worked. I was very, and on the East Coast, Plexus at the time was really unheard of. So I felt like I was really going out on a limb, and I thought, well, you know what? For $34.95, the products don't work. I mean, that's how much I spend when I take my kids to Chick-fil-A. It didn't feel super risky to me. And so decided to kind of jump all in and thought, if it works out, awesome. My husband is stressed out and overweight and could really use the extra help too. So maybe this is something that could help him. And I was really going to be happy and satisfied with an extra $250 a month. Thought $500 a month was going to change my life. That's kind of where my mindset was when I went into it. And I do think that, there was a couple by kind of joining under Celeste Gwynn, I think there's good and there's also challenge to that. The good part is I immediately saw somebody who I could touch and reach who was uber successful. And I looked at her and I talked to her on the phone. I'm like, oh my goodness. Now that she's, incredible, but down to earth, normal, stay-at-home mom. And oh my gracious, she did what? Once I kind of understood the magnitude of what she was able to accomplish in a short amount of time, I got super excited. I think my belief in all of it, the possibility became so cemented so fast that was a great benefit to me, because it wasn't like I was far removed from successful people. So I saw her, who was a diamond, working on her second leg. I saw her friends, like Roz Payne and Suzanne Clinton, and of course Jen Hawkins was right above me. And I saw all these girls who were, to me, like normal people who I had access to, who I could talk on the phone to, who were doing crazy, incredible things in network marketing. And I had no experience in network marketing. So I got really excited and kind of poured myself into learning about what network marketing was. And as I learned more, the more my mind sort of opened up to the possibilities, oh my gosh, $500 a month, that's nothing. When you've got a comp plan like we have, and when you've got products that were starting to really work, I was starting to learn about all of the ways the Plexus products were changing lives, that it was so much more than weight loss. It was so much more than me as a mom just trying to get, a little extra energy. And so I think, and I share that because I think that initial belief that, oh my gosh, if they can do it, then probably I can do it too, was right out of the gate. And I think that's really important. I think that's so super important. And so, I'm talking to people on this call that are goals, senior goals, maybe rubies and above, and working towards that goal. And so you've already probably caught the vision a little bit of what it could be. And you have the belief. And so I think it's important to remember that when new people are joining, getting them to that place right out of the gate of putting them in touch, putting them that, to show them that real people just like them can be super successful. And when you combine the business model of network marketing with the incredible Plexus compensation plan, it is such a success model that is just so exciting and something to be so passionate about, that when you are able to do that from the beginning, you get people out of the gate just really dreaming big. And I think that kind of mindset is crucial for success in our business. So that was sort of my mindset right out of the gate. Within a couple months, I think it took me 2 months to get my silver, to get my first 3 people. I just couldn't even believe how much fun I was having. I couldn't believe that it was not work. It was like this really fun hobby that I was doing after the kids were going to sleep at night. And I thought, okay, this is it. Like, mom's going to be 40 in June, and she's found her new thing. I'd already kind of contemplating sending my kids back to school and thought, okay, this is it. I'm going to really go all in. I'm really going for it. And I just started envisioning myself, being an emerald within 6 months, because that was the people that I was watching. They had done that. I imagined I was going to fly to the ranks too. I got some good momentum in the beginning. So by like April of that, a few months into it, I went gold and was like, okay, this is awesome. I got a few runners on my team. I got some friends that are excited about building with me. Was able to rank to senior gold at the end of May. And so I really thought, okay, this, by the end of the year, I'm going to be diamond, just like my counterparts, like I see Celeste doing, and Suzanne Clinton and Rossi and all these people. And so I had really envisioned myself going all the way and going to the top fast. Because don't we like that idea, right? We like that idea of like quick and easy. Where the sort of the convenient fast food mentality is what we're surrounded by. So that's super appealing. But literally, like, I went senior gold on, I think, May the 31st by the skin of my teeth. I had just really kicked off my business. I had huge, aspirations of the summer and all the opportunity meetings that I was going to do and all the trainings and all the people and my friends list. But here's what happened. As I was getting healthy and losing a little bit of weight with Plexus, by this time I kind of lost about 15 pounds, I started noticing that my right breast was not really losing weight the way that my left one was. I wasn't sure, but it was a little strange. I was 39, so I'd never been for a mammogram before. Went to the doctor, went to my OB/GYN, and there was cause for concern after she did the exam. And she had me on June the 2nd go in for a mammogram. And I'm literally on May the 31st on top of the world. I just gone senior gold. And, one of the things I want to share this with you that I heard sort of in that season when I was getting so excited about the business opportunity was a professional network marketer. And he used, we hear it all the time. You draw your line in the sand. When you really get the vision, you draw your line in the sand, you step over the line, you put your blinders on, and you go full speed ahead. And I remember that defining moment for me when I did that. It was about February, March, before, leading up to the mammogram, which is where my story's going. And I remember him saying something also. He said, it's not a matter of if something happens to derail you. It's not a matter of like if you get those kind of weapons of mass distractions in life to try to steal your dream and take away your vision. It's just really a matter of when. And he actually, in this talk, in the same talk that was a defining moment for me, said, it's going to happen and it's going to look different for everybody. And I remember saying to myself, okay, I'm ready for it. I've drawn my line in the sand. I'm putting my blinders on, and no matter what happens, I believe that I'm going to go all the way with this company, and I'm going to go all the way, and I'm going to be bold, and I'm going to be confident, and I'm going to believe with all my heart that I will be successful. And so when I went in on June the 2nd for that mammogram, I wasn't even out of the office yet before they had the mammogram, the ultrasound text, and had me sitting in front of the breast care navigator, telling me, yeah, we're pretty certain based on the screenings that you have breast cancer. It looks pretty aggressive. You need to go ahead and prepare yourself and your family for what is inevitably breast cancer. We're going to get you in to see a surgeon ASAP. We're going to get you into treatment ASAP. That's how serious at this point my breast cancer diagnosis was. And, I think when, of course, the shock and horror, anytime I kind of revisit that moment sitting in that chair in my head, it kind of gives me chills. I mean, there's no question a diagnosis like that. When you're 39 years old and your youngest child is 2 and you have 5 kids and the word cancer and they tell you it's serious and they're going to get you in touch with a surgeon ASAP. There's a lot of fear that comes with that. You talk about a life event that can completely derail you and take you completely off chart what you thought your life was going to be. And then all of a sudden within a minute, within hours, my whole life looked completely different. And it still does. I mean, there's no question. It is something that absolutely rocks your world in every single way. But I will tell you that when the sort of the dust settled and I got myself together and I got myself straight and I thought about, oh my gosh, what is my life going to look like? What does my future look like? One thing that was so important to me at this time was, you know what? I was so excited about my Plexus business, and I was so excited about sharing the good news, these health products and health and wellness with others, because by this time I had already seen, you know, my mom's health improve, my father who's diabetic, his health improve, lots of friends who had wonderful testimonies at this point, and the excitement for me to think that I could do something to change the financial future of my family and leave a financial legacy. And so when all of those kind of things were going on in my mind, and I thought, I reflected back to that moment that I had drawn my line in the sand. I reflected back to when I heard him say, it's not a matter of if it happens, it's a matter of when. And I was like, you know, this is my win. This win is pretty soon, because y'all, I had not built a major organization at this point. I was barely a senior gold by the skin of my teeth, you know? And I only at that time maybe had 2 or 3 runners. It wasn't, I'm sure that, you know, gold, you know, it's like, what is it? Like 1 in 20 statistically in network marketing, you like 1 in 20 people actually really run with the business. I didn't have the numbers at that point of people that were really working the business. But I remember saying, I'm not willing and ready, and I'm not going to let this cancer diagnosis steal my dream and steal what I saw as an absolute vision for my future and my family's future and the people around me. And I was like, you know what? Yesterday I was passionate about sharing Plexus with the world. So today, with this new, you know, someone with breast cancer, why should it be any different? And so really took that mindset, and I share that with you because I really believe with my whole heart that success in this business starts, goes, and ends with your mindset. We, Cindy and me and your leaders, can give you every single tool in the world. We can train on all those things, IPA and duplication and leadership, and you can go to every training in the world and we will give you the tool. They are there. Corporate's giving it to us. It's I mean, all that stuff is awesome. But if you find foundationally do not have the mindset to believe that no matter what comes at you, no matter what life throws at you, that you will be successful, that you will go all the way, and you don't care how long it takes, okay? Then that's really the name of the game. And you hear over and over again, you know, people that are successful and people, you know, that are working their business will tell you, really, it's a personal growth journey more than it is about products, more than it is about sales, more than it's about points or ranking or whatever. This is a personal growth journey that I believe that God picks people and chooses people for. You know, I can't ever not talk about my faith when I'm sort of talking about myself and my journey and how I see the world. And I believe with my whole heart that people get chosen for Plexus by God. I believe that people on my team have come through prayer, great prayer. And I would always encourage, you know, if you're listening to this, to make that prayer and praying for the right people a part of your business and a part of the way that you build, because it gives you a little bit of freedom to know that the people that are with you are with you for the right reasons, and the people that don't catch the vision, that's okay. So it's kind of an easy, I think, a nice way to be able to bless and release. So anyway, that's kind of getting back to, anyway, so in my journey, so that was my first, I will say, roadblock. And yeah, that was a pretty bad one, and a pretty major one. And so, you know, as I rolled into the summer and I went through, they put me into cancer treatment. I had to go through chemo, which started in July, lasted all the way through October of 2014. And during that time, you know, was my team really, I mean, I wasn't able, just because of my health, I wasn't really able to do opportunity events. I wasn't really able to do a lot of great training. Certainly wasn't in any condition to be doing regular team calls or really anything consistent for that matter, because it was so, you know, I wasn't sure what I was going to feel like. And a lot of times in chemo, you don't feel good, and it kind of adds. And if you've known anybody that's been through that, it's pretty the hard time to go through. And so it was really great because, you know, I had momentum going into the summer. And so that little bit of momentum sort of carried me to Ruby in August. And those runners, you know, they were starting to sort of flounder a little bit because they were brand new too. And so as you're all kind of brand new, I started to notice that my runners were kind of slowing down a little bit. But was able to still kind of rank to senior Ruby in like November of that year, right before my 1-year anniversary, as I was finishing up my chemo. Went into December of that year and got my double mastectomy. I actually was initially diagnosed with a stage 2 cancer. When I got through all my chemo and got to my surgery, I learned that I had a aggressive stage 3 cancer. So that's not a really fun diagnosis when you've gone through a really hard treatment and your diagnosis gets worse after you've started going through treatment. So that was a really, really hard December. And so I also want to share with you guys what happened to me that December because of lack of being able to do calls and trainings and team building and a lot of the things that I could have done if I was super healthy is my team started falling apart. Like I didn't have, like my people that were my leaders were kind of like going bye-bye, and they started just sort of dropping off the face of the earth. And I actually, probably my very, very top person who had gone gold and was working on senior gold completely went MIA. Like I still to this day don't even know. She was a friend of mine from high school down in Texas, and she just kind of went off Facebook, and I'm not really sure, and we never, had a really good reconciliation there. So I share that with you because these are the kinds of things that happen no matter who you are, no matter what rank you're at, like this happens. You can't control people. And so what happened for me was I kind of got through all of that. I went into radiation, January 2015 through the spring. And where I'd had those sort of hopes and dreams of thinking, oh yeah, okay, I'm going to get to Emerald pretty, within a few months. It's going to take me 3 or 4 months. I'll get there. I'll be in Hawaii. Well, what I found when I got into the new year was a disaster of a team. Like my ship was sinking, and I didn't really have any at that point leadership skills to even pull from. And so it was a matter of like, okay, here we go. Here's the second, for me, it was like sort of the second big roadblock, the second big thing to overcome. How am I going to figure out how to pull a team back together that I've been out of touch with for months because of my health condition? And through prayer and just sort of also I started interviewing. Honestly, you guys, I made a list of people that I've seen do well in the company. These were people that were moving pretty fast, that seemed to have a pretty good handle on how to lead and how to duplicate. And I started just cold messaging them, honestly, just like I would cold message people that I would ask about Plexus. And I started saying, hey, could you talk to me? Do you think that you could coach me? I would really love to interview you and find out what you're doing. And we have a one Plexus mentality. We all, we support and love each other. And so even though they didn't know me from Adam, some of them, they're like, sure. And so I did that. I got on the phone and I was like, what are you doing? And I decided to be a real student of leadership and really learn from people that were doing this business well and that were leading well and being very teachable. And I think that's super important in building your business, is remaining teachable and having an open mind to look at the people that are maybe doing what you want to be doing and just asking them to share, and then taking what they say, making it your own, and then trying to, sort of up your leadership. So that's what I did. I spent that time really in personal development and personal growth, and studied the, John Maxwell leadership books. To me, the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership is like a leadership Bible. I read it over and over and tried to, and the 5 Levels of Leadership is another really excellent John Maxwell book, and trying to understand kind of where was I on the leadership ladder and where did I want to be and what was it going to take, and changing. And so anyways, I share that season because I think that was a major personal growth, and I had to become a leader that I wasn't, and I didn't know how to be. I'd only led my kids at that point, and I don't think I was doing a great job. We always kind of wonder, like, how are they going to turn out? So anyway, and then rolled into the summer, as a senior Ruby, thinking that I could get to Emerald, and didn't. I mean, my points were going backwards, and even during the great season of January, February, March, I mean, it was a backwards moment. And so trying to redirect the ship, and that's what I kind of spent my time doing into the summer of that year. I had my very last sort of cancer surgery treatment. I had one in July of that year. I had one in September of that year of 2015. And so as I'm kind of moving through it, I'm still dealing with this huge health issue and how all these things, which each time was a little bit of a setback. But you guys, I always went back to my original mindset to say, okay, I can do this no matter what. I will do this no matter what. no matter how long it takes me. Obviously it's going to take more than 6 months. It's obviously going to take more than a year. Maybe it's going to take 2. Maybe it's going to take 5. I don't know. Maybe it's going to take 10. But the vision was enough, and our comp plan is amazing enough, and our business model is amazing enough. Who cares, right? If it takes 5 or 10 years, because I knew in my heart, with my, college degree from Elon University and with political science that I'd never really used and stayed home with my kids for 10 years, nobody was going to be hiring me to make $100,000 a year anytime soon. And so it was my best shot. I mean, I just kept going back to them, like, this is my best shot to be able to create that financial freedom and leave a financial legacy for my family. This is the best shot. This is it. And so I just would always, in those hard times, and then those roadblocks, and those times when I thought, oh my gosh, it's all going to fall apart. I'm going to, when I had those moments of fear of losing the points and losing the business and losing the runners, I just went back to, you know what though? I drew my line in the sand. I said I was going to put my blinders on. I said I was doing this no matter what. And success is inevitable, and it doesn't matter how long it's going to take. And so just continued, always went back to the mindset, always went back to the why. And so fortunately, through that sort of growth period, that kind of retreating and learning how to lead better, I went to Emerald in December of 2015. So a year ago. Right? So almost like so it took me right at 2 years to get to Emerald. So, I share like seriously, you guys, if somebody like me could do that in 2 years from, and go through cancer treatments and lose runners and be a terrible leader with her team falling apart and her ship going down and all these things. I mean, seriously, y'all, the odds were definitely not in my favor. And in addition to that, I didn't even tell you guys, it wasn't like I came into this with a great network. It wasn't like that at all. It wasn't one of those sorority girls or, out in the community all the time. I literally was in my house homeschooling my kids for years. And I didn't really even know, but a few of my neighbors. But I love people and utilize, and like I said, just kind of use social media and watch what other successful people had done. So then, you guys, and I want to share this part because this was kind of like my new journey because, this was the roll into the new year. And at that time, my team was on fire. Like, we were killing it in January and February and March. And probably like a lot of you guys, I think it was a killer time for Plexus in general. We were growing by leaps and bounds and people were promoting. And I was having, 200-300 point gains a month. And I thought, oh, this is it. I suffered, which I felt like a year at Senior Ruby. I mean, it felt like a really long time to be at Senior Ruby from what I expected to be. I thought, okay, good, this is it. I'm going to get to fly through Sapphire, and I'm going to get to Diamond, and I'm going to get there by July the 31st, and I'm going to get on that Diamond trip. And it's, I've paid my dues. Is honestly my mindset going into the new year. And you guys, like seriously, in April of 2016, I was less than 150 points away from Sapphire. Like I thought, oh my gosh, by May, I'm going to go to convention. I'm going to be Sapphire. I can definitely get to, reach the Diamond by July the 31st. And guess what? I think a lot of us, all of a sudden that brick wall came. Okay. And the next thing I knew, it was like, what just happened? I just went backwards. How did that just happen? When I'd had such great gains. And so all of a sudden I found myself back in that place of oh my gosh, what's going on? And the ship's going down again. I'm like, what am I going to do? And then on top of that, so here's where it really gets crazy, you guys. So on top of May, all of a sudden the brick wall hitting and having a little bit of a backwards time happening with my Plexus points in my business, I go and I have a convention. It's wonderful. It's awesome. I come back on that Monday. I had to go in for what I thought was just going to be a simple little surgery. My surgeon at my 6-month checkup had found a tiny little M&M sized lump in my breast where I had the original cancer. And she was a little concerned about it. I, on the other hand, was not. I'm like, I am so good. I am so healthy. I am awesome. I'm using my Plexus products. I have been. I've never skipped a beat. But she comes in and she tells me right after my surgery, dude, I hope not. I hope everything's. Can you guys still hear me and see me?
No.
Yeah, my alarm went off. Anyway, you guys can hear me still, right, Cindy?
Yes, we can.
Okay, just making sure. Okay, so anyway, so I find out that indeed that lump right after Cindy and I met was cancer again, and that I was now revisiting the horror exactly 2 years later, like the same June, in June of 2016. I have this horrible news again, going, yeah, I'm sorry, you have cancer. And I go in for scans, and because of what my scans said, I got the wonderful label of being a stage 4 metastatic cancer person. So, of course, so all of a sudden I found myself in that same position of my whole world kind of just crumbling, going, oh my gosh, what do I do with this? What do I do now? So I will tell you, this is where, I will share my heart. I said, okay, it's not going to matter if it doesn't matter. This Diamond documentary is not going to matter if I don't survive. Because so for me, I had to really reevaluate everything again in my life to say, I've got to prioritize, it's got to be God, family, and somehow Plexus. How does Plexus fit into that? And how does leading a team? Because so much of my energy had been given to building the business for so long. I put my business aside. I called a timeout. I let my team know that I had to take a few months, and I had to just really go deep within. I had to figure out what it was that God had, and what my new sort of cancer journey was going to look like, and what healing was going to look like, and how does Plexus fit into that. And so I did. I really did. I just sort of didn't work for June, July, and August. I even contemplated not going to Hawaii because I felt like, even though I had earned the trip and I was super excited about that trip, I just felt like at the time it wasn't a good time, that it was almost like I needed to be really concentrating on how to get well from cancer. I didn't have at this point, I'll be honest with you guys, I didn't have a lot of faith in conventional medicine and what I had done, because I had done everything that they had told me to do. I had been a good little soldier and done it all, and I'd gone from a stage 2 to a stage 3 to now stage 4 metastatic within 2 years. So I had to really reevaluate all of that, and again, figure out how Plexus worked into my new life of dealing, and I won't say fighting, because I don't fight cancer anymore. I'm healing from cancer now. Yeah. That's a mind shift for me. So anyway, I share all of that with you, and I will tell you, this is me putting it out on the table, because I know a lot of us have gone through points and going backwards, and I had a 600 point loss over the summer, you guys. 600 points. Okay, multiply that times 3. That's not pretty. So while I was so close to Sapphire and had all these aspirations of, like, of it kind of flying through again, I found myself waking up in September going, holy no, what? Oh my gosh. I will tell you that, because I really felt like, as I contemplated not going to Hawaii, I felt sort of the presence of God, and when I was kind of deep in prayer, say I did need to go to Hawaii, and I didn't really understand why. And if you guys are still with me, I can tell you a cool, really, really cool Hawaii story. So my husband and I go to Hawaii. We didn't have the reservations. We didn't have the rental car, nothing. We went to Hawaii. It was great. It was beautiful. Some of the things I started to kind of that got revealed to me again, which was exactly perfect God timing, was that it wasn't time for me to give up on my Plexus. It wasn't time. And the reason it wasn't time and it wasn't going to be okay was because Plexus is such a blessing. It is such a blessing. The friendship, the community, the love. Not to mention the Plexus products and the testimonies, and of course the income is such an enormous blessing. And when I got to Hawaii and I was with people like Cindy and other jewels from our company, there was such a richness in the relationships and a richness in being there. And I thought, okay, this is part of my healing. And if it's a part of my healing, then it has the potential to be a part of someone else's healing and a part of someone else's life that will bless them till the end of the time. And so if I was to give up on my team and give up on my business and just say, you know what, forget it, I got too much going on, I can't do this anymore, that would be selfish of me. Because there's people, and I know Samantha is on my call, and she's a dear, dear hard worker, what a woman on my team. If I don't give everything I've got and everything I've learned to people like Samantha to get them across the finish line with me, then I have done a huge disservice to my team and the gifts that God has given me. And so that fire in Kona was absolutely rekindled to come back with a new fire and a new why, to say, okay, this isn't really about me anymore. This isn't about my rank or my points or getting to diamond or even sapphire for that matter. This is about locking arms with the people that want this and have the vision and have the mindset and have the dream, and to fuel that and to give anything that I know and anything that I've learned in my experience in this company and with this business and how to do it, and give it to them and give it to them without really any expectation of anything in return. And so that time in Hawaii absolutely was God ordained. In addition to it, and I'm going to give you, and I know I'm going on and on and on, but I want to share this story because this is how God works, and this is how God uses Plexus in our lives more than you could ever imagine. The Thursday night in Kona, and Cindy was a huge part of this. The Thursday night in Kona, we all go down to the lagoon to watch a friend of ours, Christy White's daughter, be baptized. It's a beautiful baptism. As you can imagine, it's the lagoon, it's the Pacific Ocean and the sunset. I mean, it was picturesque. And I honestly went there because my husband made me. Like, I was hungry and I was complaining and I wanted to go eat. It was after a long day. He's like, I think we should go. Let's go. And, it's like that internal, like, okay, fine. I mean, how can I say no? God's going to be mad at me or something if I don't go. So anyway, so I'm there, and all of a sudden, they're like singing starts after the baptism. It's just this really beautiful organic worship service. And it was actually Cindy who says, they said, we're going to do a healing circle, and we're going to do a prayer circle. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, my heart starts beating really fast. And I'm thinking inside, like, oh, I want prayers for healing. I need prayers for healing. And it was actually Cindy that says, where's Dawn Andrews? Where's Dawn Andrews? And I'm so grateful that she did this. I'm so grateful. And I'm glad that I have the opportunity to live tell you what you did for me in that moment. The next thing I know, I'm in the middle of this healing prayer circle, and everybody there, and I think there was at least 100 ambassadors on that beach, laying hands on me and praying and worshiping and crying out to God in the most organic way that I have ever seen in my life. And praying healing over me, and I'm just crying, and I just know it, and I feel it. And it was like, I get chills. I mean, I have these chill moments when I even revisit it. And it was like, oh my gosh, yes, God, you brought me to Hawaii for this healing, for this moment. Because I believe in my heart that I've already been healed. And it's just a matter of time before the whole world knows through scans and diagnostic testing. And that's getting ready. That will come. And I'm really excited to celebrate that and kind of show the world, and all of my people. Anyway. So I get out of that prayer healing circle, and I'm just like, oh, right? The next thing I hear is someone says my name, where's Dawn Andrews? And I'm here. And this girl walks over to me who I don't even know, okay? She's an Emerald Ambassador. I've never met her before in my life. And she's like, I had it on my heart to tell you about, there's a healing doctor that I know that's in my hometown who I really feel like God's led me to tell you about, that I think will really help you. She said, and meanwhile, you guys, and I didn't share this part, I was willing to go to Mexico. Like, I had honestly decided that I needed treatment far, far away from here because I couldn't get what I needed where I was. And so I was willing to go to Mexico and leave my family for a month. I was willing to put a lot of money into it. And so I'm looking at this girl going, okay, who's this guy? And tell me where the plane is, because I'm getting on the plane. She tells me, she's like, I'm in Charlottesville, Virginia. And I was like, excuse me? Okay, Charlottesville, Virginia, you guys, is 2.5 hours from my house. Okay, so basically God took me all through Plexus, all the way to Kona, to this healing prayer circle, for Cindy to say my name, for this girl Tanya to come out of nowhere to tell me about a healer who's in Charlottesville, Virginia, 2.5 hours from my house. I went all the way to Kona for this to happen, for me to find somebody in my backyard who, yes, in fact, and here's the crazy part. She tells me, you guys, this is going to blow your mind. She's like, I met this guy not because I needed a doctor and not because of anything else. She said, one day I was at a football game, and this doctor I had on a Plexus hat, our Plexus. And a child comes over to her and says, I didn't know my dad had those hats. Are you a part of my dad's practice? And she's like, what are you talking about? Okay, so here's the deal. This place that I've been sent to in Charlottesville, where I absolutely know that this doctor is prophet-like and healing me, is called the Plexus Clinic.
Yep.
Yes, the Plexus Clinic. Okay, you can actually look it up online. It's called the plexusclinic.com, because the word plexus is a word that means a system of vessels that work together for the greater good. So I find myself now every Tuesday, I drive 2.5 hours. I go to the Plexus Clinic. That's a healing place, 2.5 hours to my house. And I'm on a journey that absolutely is a healing journey. Is, like I said, I know that I've already been healed, and I'm in probably the healthiest I've ever been. I am the most at peace that I have ever been, the most centered and aligned with God that I have ever been in my whole entire life. And all of that leads back to really being in this place of plexus and being, that God has put all of these things in my life, and people like Cindy and plexus and all of it, my team. And so there's not one single detail that has been left out. And so now, as I stand before you, 30, 40 minutes into my story, and I speak to you with coming to say to you, there will be absolutely weapons of mass distraction that try to steal your joy, that try to steal your dream, that try to break your vision. There will be things in your life that try to break and tell you that you're not good enough, that you can't do it, that it's not yours to have, and that other people are better than you. And I'm here to tell you right now that that is a lie, and that is not true, and that God wants us to live our best life, that this is a gift that he has brought into our lives, that he is using, and the story, your story and my story is yet to unfold, and we're in the middle of it, and plexus is just a part of it. And so I would encourage you, if you run up against roadblocks, if you run up against these things that want to derail you, that maybe for a moment that you might just remember now and this story and what I've shared with you and say, hang on a second, I can do this, I am good enough, and I will continue to have the mindset and the belief and the desire to be the very, very best that I can be, and be the best person that God has called me to be. And so that's my message for you guys today. And I'm so grateful, Cindy, that you allowed me the opportunity to share it.
Oh, thank you so much, Dawn. I'm still an emotional wreck, because the coolest part was Tanya was standing next to me, and Tanya and I had met at Leaders the year before and had made a very tight connection. And then to see her talking to Dawn about this, I just felt how God just was like, whoo, right through the whole thing. I mean, it was a major blessing, and I'm so excited for that. And that's the other thing that I just got out of. I wrote a whole page of notes because I'm a note taker. But it's so true. If we can just step out of the way and step out of even looking at our points and just know we're changing lives, and that's what we're all about. God's going to bless us in the right time. It might not be our time, but it's in his time. So anyway, thank you so much. This was the best morning. I needed this personally, believe me. So it was like, yes, he knew what to have you talk about. So thank you again, everyone. This is recorded. So if you want to go back and listen to it, which I probably will, because I love to hear I need these kind of things in my life. So be sure to tell your teams too to come listen to this, because they need to hear this also. And we thank you. Let's all unmute and thank Dawn for sharing with us.